All right, so we are live today, Sunday, June 12th. We have the round eight in Formula One in Baku, the Azerbaijan Formula One race in 2022. So I just watched the race earlier this morning. I'm in the U.S., so I had to get up early, and then I went right back to bed on this Sunday. So let's just go through the race. I have my cards here. We're going to go through kind of lap by lap. I'm not going to go through every single thing with Vettel and Alonso and Ocon and all the stuff down in the midfield. I'm going to stick to the front of the kind of more of the front of the grid, the podium, and all kind of crazy stuff that happened during the race. Now, this was quite successful for my team, Red Bull, but not so great for Ferrari and their customer teams. This was kind of round eight, the woes for the Ferrari power unit. So let's start right at the front. On pole, you had Charles Leclerc. Now, this is his fourth straight pole, but it has not been a great thing for him as far as pole is concerned. He hasn't been able to convert it, I think, as much as he would like to. Now, he's then followed by the two Red Bulls, but not in the order that you might think. It's Perez and then Verstappen. Perez is coming off a win in Monaco, and he won Baku last year. So this is great for Sergio Perez. So you got Leclerc, Perez, and Verstappen, the front three. Now, right away, our favorite driver, Nicholas Latifi, gets a 10-second stop-go penalty for a starting grid infringement. They showed where I guess he was too far ahead of his starting grid place, and an engineer came out and pushed his car back into a better position. And I guess he was out there just way too long. Probably not even worth doing, knowing that Latifi has really no shot at getting any points anyway. Might as well just start out of place instead of having an engineer pushing a car on the starting grid. But that's Williams and Nicholas Latifi for you. So let's go to the start. So right out of the gate, formation lap, fine. And then lights out and away we go. Into turn one, unfortunately for Ferrari, Leclerc locks up, allowing Perez to easily takes the lead. And then he takes the lead comfortably as the race goes on, while Verstappen is just all over the back of Charles Leclerc. So you got Perez, Leclerc, and Verstappen. Perez is kind of sailing off into the distance while you have Verstappen battling Leclerc. Now, here is where the woes for the Ferrari power units begin. In lap 9, Sainz, brake-by-wire issue. He is out. Goes into one of those drive-off places. It triggers a virtual safety car, and there are pit stops for Leclerc, Russell, Gasly, and Hamilton. Red Bull does not pit. Now, the pit stops for this race were not phenomenal. There were a lot of issues with pit stops, long pit stops, issues with the wheel guns. I don't know if it was the heat, very hot in Azerbaijan. I'm not really sure what was going on with that, but the pit stops were not phenomenal in this race. But Red Bull did not pit. Leclerc did. So is that a strategy? If Leclerc pits, we don't. If he doesn't pit, we pit. It's a whole, the pit strategy. As you saw in the last race, Ferrari botched it. They easily could have won that race, botched their pit strategies. And, so pit strategy can be everything in Formula One. Now, let's head over to lap 15. So Sainz is out lap 9. Lap 15 here, Verstappen uses DRS to overtake Perez into turn 1 to take the lead. Now, Perez seemed to be having some issues with his tires. So 2 laps later on lap 17, Perez pits, but it's a slow stop, 5.7 seconds. I mean, Red Bull's capable of like a 1.9 second pit stop. So 5.2 pit stop is an eternity in the pits. But he comes out behind Leclerc and barely in front of Russell. Okay. So Perez does pit. Again, when Verstappen overtook him on lap 15, it was a pretty easy overtake. I think Perez knew he was going to be pitting soon. And, there's no reason to fight your teammate, crash, and then ruin the whole race, right? You already have one Ferrari down, race safe to get maximum points because, Sainz isn't going to get any. And even if Leclerc does, that's good for the championship, for the constructor and the drivers, et cetera, et cetera. So now we're up to lap 19. Verstappen pits for hard tires and comes out behind Leclerc. Okay, oh boy. Now Leclerc's back in the lead, but guess what? Ferrari, what's going on with your engines today? They can't handle the heat. Lap 20, Leclerc is out. His car is billowing smoke. This is now the second Ferrari power unit that is out. No points for the Scuderia. Now you have Red Bull on their way to get maximum points, and Mercedes, though they've been struggling, they're always right on the heels, waiting for. So it's so interesting because it's all relative. It's always been Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes in some kind of order, right? Last few years, it's been really Mercedes, Red Bull, with Ferrari kind of there to pick up the pieces when someone DNFs or crashes. This year, you got Red Bull and the Scuderia with Mercedes there to pick up the pieces when something happens, like this race. And there they are. Okay, so now lap 22, the top three is now Verstappen, Perez, and Russell. Scuderia is out. No points for them today. Lap 24, guess what? Another Ferrari power unit shits the bed. Zhou is out. And I didn't write down what his issue was, but it doesn't matter. He's out. Now, lap 30, Red Bull takes a clear lead and control of this race. And Hamilton is really complaining about back pain. When they do the close-up camera work and, they get the camera right behind Hamilton's head, and then they pan out and show the car. Listen, I don't know anything about how these cars are constructed or car building or engineering, but there must be something they can do to stop the porpoising. Before the race, Hamilton told Toto, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish the race. The porpoising is so bad. The back pain from it is so bad that, Hamilton is complaining. This is not tenable. And I think at the end of the race, he did finish, and we'll get to that. He told the team, you got to do something about this. Canada's only a week from now. You got to do something about this porpoising because, we're barely finishing races. We're battered and bruised. It's remarkable they're able to even keep up with the other teams because their car is just, remember party mode? Remember that a few years ago, party mode? Well, this is a new kind of party mode, bouncing and bouncing, but it's not a good kind of party mode, if you know what I mean. So lap 33, Magnussen out. Fourth Ferrari power unit out. Triggers a VSC, virtual safety car. Lap 34, Perez and Verstappen pit. Russell's pit. Ricardo Hamilton pits under the VSC. All right, so lap 37, Verstappen hits the fastest lap. Now, Tsunoda, this is really interesting. Tsunoda has a DRS issue, and when they showed it, it looked like half of his rear wing blew off. But what was happening is that only half of his rear wing was opening for DRS. So they actually waved a black and orange flag, which is not that common. The commentators were talking about how it's really weird that they flashed this. It means there's a car on the track with an issue that could be detrimental to other drivers. So you got to come in and fix the issue. You got to pit and fix it. So now the commentators didn't think that was really necessary because I don't know how just, it's not, it's okay. So only half of his rear wing opens during DRS. It's not like he's got pieces hanging off of his car that other drivers could run over or puncture their tires with, but maybe they thought it could lead to that. Regardless, the stewards or whoever didn't think it was safe. The race director shows the black and orange flag, nicknamed the meatball. I did look this up. It's a black flag with an orange circle, and it is nicknamed the meatball. Racing flags are super interesting. I was doing some Wikipedia or whatever research on them, like the whole idea of the checkered flag and everything. Very interesting stuff. So he pits, and it's so funny, um, unlike the front wing, you really can't in a pit stop change the rear wing. It's a much more complicated thing. So these guys come out with what looks like duct tape, and they just start duct taping the rear wing together, down. I don't know, but he was told not to use DRS, forget DRS, and then they send him on his way. So that's just I have never seen that before. I've never seen only half of a wing open during DRS, and then the guys rush out, you know, uh, jigger rig it, just Jerry rig it. I think that's a Jerry, something like that. Just duct tape it up and just send them on their way. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So this race apparently is famous for lots of safety cars and stuff, but there were just a lot of DNFs and no real crashes. So it was more just the virtual safety car and some very interesting duct taping on Tsunoda's vehicle. So lap 41, Verstappen told to stop using DRS. Now, this was interesting, and they didn't really explain any further, but we know from previous races that Verstappen has had issues with his DRS, and he is in the lead. And to be honest with you, I am not clear on how, if you're in the lead, if you have a back marker and you're in a DRS zone, can you use DRS to pass them? I'm wondering if it's a reference to that, or if it's just a reference to don't use it because we don't want to have an issue like where we got to duct tape you up and spend 5 seconds in the pits. But he's had issues with DRS this season already. Maybe they saw something in pit lane, and so they tell him in lap 41, Verstappen, don't use DRS. Also, they were telling Verstappen during this time in the race, chill out. You don't need to go that fast. You have a commanding lead. Just nice and easy. Don't blow a tire out. No reason to, you want to go for fastest lap. Maybe that was an option, but let's just Ferrari's out. Let's sail on home, get maximum points. Don't take any risks, right? Lap 44. This is the only time I'm talking about an overtake that isn't way up front. But Hamilton finally overtakes Gasly. He's been trying to do this for a while now to take P4. And this is important because at the end of the race, you got Russell, who's been sailing behind Perez in third on the podium with Hamilton right behind. So for them, that is a lot of points for Mercedes this year, in this season so far, with all of their issues. And again, our good friend Latifi on lap 44 gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags. The guy lives on blue flags. This guy has seen more blue flags than I don't even know what. Than a Democratic Party rally. Okay. So I don't know how he could ignore the blue flag. It's his best friend. But so not only did he have to go to a 10-second stop-go penalty, now he has a 5-second ignoring blue flag penalty. But it doesn't matter because the guy's always in the back anyway. Lap 51. What am I wearing? Number 1, baby. My guy, Max Verstappen, sails into victory, followed by his teammates Sergio Perez and Mercedes' George Russell. Perez gets the fastest lap, and Hamilton gets driver of the day. Now, I'm not like some big Hamilton fan. I respect what he's able to do or what he has done in his career and everything, but I can understand he had a rough race. I don't know what this porpoising feels like, but I can't imagine when you're trying to control a vehicle like that at those speeds and you're constantly bouncing up and down. It must be a real struggle. So he did get driver of the day, being able to get up there into the top 5 positions. Now let's talk about some things here of this race. So again, Red Bull gets maximum points. You know, a few races ago, the beginning of the season, I was telling Jason, like, dude, Ferrari, man, they just got it. Ferrari, they got it, man. They are rocking and rolling. They figured out these new regulations. They built a really cool looking car, and they're just gonna just Leclerc's gonna get the championship. The Scuderia is gonna get the championship. Like, not even a problem. But guess what? You got 4. Is that what I said? 4. Yeah, you got the 2 Ferraris, then an Alpha, and a Haas. All Ferrari power units out. I mean, that's rough. But again, we saw that with Red Bull too. So in the beginning of the season, now we're only on round 8 of like 22, I think. So it's still early days. Still early days, as the British commentators like to say. There are just like certain things as an American that I hear with these British commentators, like, it's still early days, or that was a cracking lap, and it's I wish there was an American listen, Formula One, hire me. I could do an American voice commentary for American F1 fans, so I can use kind of more American language to talk about these races. And I was just watching IndyCar, and even that announcer is Australian. It's like, man, can I get an American, voice to listen to? I don't know why. That's kind of something that I've always been thinking about. So Red Bull gets maximum points. Ferrari gets no points, really hurting them in the championship. This is kind of like if Red Bull goes on to win both championships, like, you can look back to round 8 all those months ago in Azerbaijan as when, wow, we really shit the bed. If we would have had some points there, it really could have put us in a better position to get at least one of the 2 championships. Mercedes is there, like I said, to pick up the pieces when something happens, P3 and P4. If Red Bull DNFs, if Ferrari DNFs, Mercedes might not be the team that they've been in the past, but they're still right there on the heels, picking up the pieces. And that's what you got to do. You got to put yourself in a position where, because, hey, anything can happen in these races. I mean, look, Charles Leclerc is, doing his thing, going on, leading the race. Yeah, he got overtaken because of the lockup, but whatever. He ends up leading the race again. And then his engine just blows. I mean, big billows of smoke. And you just never know when that's going to happen. It could happen at any moment, So, like I said, Hamilton is struggling in his car. He at the end of the race, I mean, he could barely get out of his car. He's holding his back. I mean, it must be. I mean, these guys are in peak physical shape. They're the 20, well, maybe not Latifi, but they're supposed to be the 20 greatest drivers on the planet. Hamilton has raced a lot of races and won a lot of championships. This is a, he is Sir Lewis Hamilton, right? And to see him struggle like an old man to get out of his car, holding his back, it must be bad. Like, it really must be bad. And he basically said over team radio, guys, we got to do something about this. I mean, to say that, he might not be able to finish the race because of the porpoising. Because, they do practice sessions and they do qualifying, but they never do. I think this was a 51 lap race. They never really get to do 51 laps in a row. So you might be able to handle the porpoising for, a few practice laps, or maybe a couple laps in qualifying, out lap and then your fast lap. But you're not going all 51. So how is the porpoising going to affect you after 51 laps? And so Canada's only a week away, so not much time to recover for him. Listen, like I said, I don't know anything about building cars and engineering cars and stuff, but Mercedes needs to figure out what the heck is going on, because their car seems very undrivable. And again, the last thing I want to just make a note is our good friend Nicholas Latifi, friend of the show. Um, Two penalties, poor performance. Will he even last the season? Will Williams bring someone else in? Because like in my mind, I think Hulkenberg is out there somewhere. Why isn't he in that car? There's other great drivers. Maybe one of the, Formula Two champion young guys. I forget the guy's name that they Patrizzi or something. I should have looked that up. I forget his name. There's a guy that they've been the commentators and stuff mention. They say this guy. They put in this young guy. But then, hey, you know what was a bright spot of this race? Mick Schumacher's car did not end up in two separate pieces. That is a highlight. That is something we should note. He was able to keep his car fully together. Now let's look at the standings here. The driver standings: Verstappen 150 points, followed by Perez 129. Leclerc drops to third with 116, getting no points for today's race. Russell has 99, Sainz 83, Hamilton 62, Norris 50, Bottas 40, Ocon 31, Gasly 16, Alonso 16, Magnussen 15, Ricardo 15, Vettel 13, Tsunoda 11, Albon 3, Stroll 2, Zhao 1, Schumacher 0, Hulkenberg, he raced in the beginning for Vettel, he has 0, and our good friend Latifi, a big old goose egg at 0. So looking at this, obviously, I love personally, as you can see, Red Bull right up top. Again, Leclerc. Hey, listen, we got a lot of races left, a lot of races. So Leclerc's still there, in my opinion. But then you see like Sainz, I mean, I just know Ferrari would want to have Sainz, much higher, much higher. And obviously you got Hamilton and Russell with Sainz like in the middle, and then kind of I was hoping to see Bottas get some more points. I'm not like some big Bottas fan, but I was so happy when he left Mercedes because like you got to get out of that toxic environment, you know. And I'm hoping, and I'm really feeling that Red Bull is handling that better than Mercedes did with Hamilton and Bottas. Yeah, Max is their number one driver. So far this season, any race that Max finishes, he wins, just like today. But, actually, no. No, because Perez won in Monaco. So that's not even true anymore. But they've been saying that the whole season so far. Any race Max Verstappen finishes, he wins. But actually, that's not true now because he finished in Monaco and with Perez on top. But I think if they're smart, obviously I want to see Max, and I think Red Bull wants to see Max win the championship. But I think they had a discussion when Perez said, it's unfair to let Verstappen through, but he's going to do it. He's going to follow team orders. He's going to be a team player. Because even though, I've said this before, it is a team sport. There's a constructors championship and a drivers championship. Every driver wants to win, but there is a constructor aspect of this. There's rules and money involved and air tunnel, wind tunnel time involved. There's all these moving parts and stuff. So I'm hoping they handle that dynamic and relationship better than Mercedes did with Bottas. But I see Bottas, he's much happier now in life with Alfa Romeo, with racing. And also in the beginning, Magnussen and Haas was doing so well, and they're just not able to live up to that. I mean, you saw, Magnussen DNF today, and I think maybe the Ferrari power unit, not sure what's going on with it, but started super strong in the beginning, is now starting to drop off. So Ferrari's really going to have to figure that out. So in the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull has a commanding lead at 279, Ferrari at 199, Mercedes 161, McLaren 65, Alpine 47, Alfa Romeo 41, Alpha Tauri 27, Haas 15, Aston Martin 15, and Williams. I love Williams. I do. I have a special place in my heart for not Latifi, but Williams as a whole. I just think it's a great historic team. I should get one of their hats and maybe some Williams merch. Owned by an American investment firm now, or Doralton Capital. Williams is just one of those, old school teams that you just love. Senna raced for Williams, Nigel Mansell, all these great Williams, such an historical, phenomenal team. And they're down there with a lonely 3 points, and you just wish they'd be doing better. All right, guys. Well, that is my recap of round 8 in the 2022 season of Formula One Baku, Azerbaijan, with Max Verstappen, my boy, winning leading championship for him and Red Bull. So the next race is in Canada, and I'll hopefully be doing another race recap then. So we'll see you next time on the Michael Babinchak Show on the YouTube channel. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. Go over to my website, tmpspodcast.com. You'll see links to SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Well, you're already on YouTube, all that stuff. Like I said, please like, share, subscribe, tell your mom, tell your aunt, tell your grandma, tell all your friends, and we'll see you next time. Let's end the stream right now.